So are you ready to hear a little bit about 20 time in education? Yeah? All right. My name is Kate Petty, and I've been working on 20 time in education for about a year now. And I had the privilege of integrating into my classroom last year after watching other teachers do that and finding out everything they did wrong, and then being able to work with them to kind of improve things. So what I'm going to share today are some things that I learned, that we learned together, and even some of the weaknesses in my own project that I'm going to adapt for this next year. So before we even get started with 20 time, let's just talk quickly about what employers are looking for in the job force in their employees today. And what U.S. News is reporting is the top 6 skills that employers are looking for in their employees are publishing skills, presenting oral presentations, meeting deadlines, teamwork, time management, and creative thinking. What's really nice is our new 4 C's address almost every single one of those in our Common Core. So we have communication, we have collaboration, we have critical thinking, we have creativity. So what the 20 time project can do is address almost every single one of those. Actually, it does address every single one of those things by just giving your students a little bit of 20 time in the classroom. So to the very minimum, what 20 time can give you is searching skills, curation, collation, creation, and publishing skills. But then in addition to that, you're going to get digital citizenship, evaluation skills, and presentation skills too. So are you ready to see the different types of 20 time? Okay. Oh yeah, what is 20 time? I should probably tell you that first. 20 time is giving students, in my case, it's 1 hour a week, and in my case, that's 20% of my class. I'm a high school teacher, but I've interviewed a lot of elementary school teachers, so don't go away, don't run. 1 hour a week to explore any topic they want of their choice. So you give them 1 hour, and I'm going to show you 3 ways to be able to do that, and you can pick and choose of these 3 ways which is the best for your classroom. In my classroom, I actually use all 3, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. So the first way is the way that most elementary school teachers like to use 20 time, and that's what they call the Genius Hour format. And that's what you ask students to brainstorm a topic that they're interested in for 1 hour and then present the results. So actually it's more like 45 minutes of brainstorming and then 15 minutes of presentation. And what most elementary school teachers and what me as a high school teacher are going to be doing is I wonder statements. So come up with a list of, the I wonder statements, right? I wonder, I wonder, I wonder. And then they can choose, which one to answer for the day. They answer it. And then they present, the important part is they present their findings in the last 15 minutes of class. They stand up and they say, I know why spiders are creepy. And they explain to the class why spiders are creepy after they've done their research. So I have an example. This is a 3rd grade. Now this is a little more involved. You don't have to have a poster presentation. You can just ask students to stand up. But the 3rd grade teacher was studying the solar system. And instead of doing a traditional assessment, she asked her students to choose one concept they learned in their solar system unit and learn more about it. So this student chose to learn more about nebulous. And the student researched it, and he wrote his write-up, and he presented, and this took 2 hours, 1 hour to research and do the poster, 1 hour to present for the classes. So this is, like I said, a little more extended of a wonder project, but this is a very easy concept that most students can do for 3rd grade. So you have the 1 Genius Hour concept, but then you also have this concept where you can do some short-term projects, a 2 or a 3 week project, and this works perfect for your K1 through 3 students. I've found most K1, 2, and 3 teachers have a buddy teacher in the upper grades. The buddy teachers are teaching the reading skills or their PE buddies. But what if, and please take pictures of my slides. Please take as many as you can get if you want. So instead of doing reading buddies, how about those 6th grade students pair up with their 1st grade students, 1st grade buddies, help them research a topic and help them create a PowerPoint. This is an actual 6th and 1st grade buddy project that they did. The 1st grade class was learning about ecosystems. Teacher asked them to choose their favorite ecosystem, learn more about it, and create a presentation. And in just 1 hour in the library computer lab, the 6th grade students helped their 1st grade buddies make this presentation, and then got to be in on the presentations themselves in the audience. The next week, as their first grade buddies were presenting this all by themselves up in front of the classroom. That's for K through 2, 3, and then 4 through 12, what a great way to scaffold a larger project. Ask your 4 through 12 students to say, hey, let's research something for 1 hour. The next week they're creating a project, and the next week they're doing a little bit more of a formal presentation with that poster project or with that digital media project. So you have your Genius Hour, 1 hour, 1 topic a week. You have your short-term project that's a little more scaffolded, a 2 to 3 week project. And then for middle school, high school, you have your 20% project. And this is one that gets a lot of attention. This is one that we've worked on quite a bit. And this is where you ask your students to choose one learning goal. And I stress learning goal over performance goal. And I've learned this in the last few months. Daniel Pink drives this in. Get it? He drives it in. So rather than asking your students to shave 2 minutes off their mile, ask them to choose something they can learn about for an entire semester. That's going to help out a lot in your classroom, trust me. So one that they can, one learning goal to work on. With the 20% long-term project, they're going to create an implementation plan. They're going to pitch it to the public. And what I mean by pitching it to the public is an actual poster fair where the PTA and the superintendent and your ed tech team and other teachers in the school and their peers, other classes, are coming through, and they have to publicly say, I'm working on this and I'm going to finish this. They're held accountable for it. So this is about 4 weeks after they choose their topic. It's more of a formal poster session. This is my student Tim, who decided to create a photography business, and he was pitching that to the public. So you're going to have a weekly reflection, which I'll get to in just a minute, and then a final presentation. And in this final presentation, I stress that if you learned how to crochet, you're not up here on this final presentation teaching us how to crochet. What you're teaching us is what you learned in your process. What was your goal? What worked well? What didn't work well? What were the strengths and weaknesses? If you had an obstacle, how did you get around it? And they actually found they had 5 minutes worth of information to be able to tell the class about the process of their project, not what they actually did. So that final reflection, and if you're like me, I like easy finals for me to grade. So that was actually the final exam for the class, was presenting this project in front of the class to tell us what they learned. So that was what we ended up doing. All right, so you have 3 ways. We have Genius Hour, we have the 2-week to 3-week short-term project, and you have the 20% project. And I'm going to give you resources that you can click for at the end here to get way more information on all of that. So now we got to learn, here's what happened. I told my students to do this, and I thought that they could do it, but they couldn't. They didn't know how. My students are 12th grade students, and they did not know how to be autonomous learners. So I realized I had to teach that. So the first thing I decided to do was teach them research and searching skills. And I don't know if you've done the power search or advanced power searching classes through Google, but about a year ago, they offered these classes, and you could get certified as a Google searcher. And you got a certificate and everything. And while you can't get the certificate anymore, they've left the classes online for you to do anyway. And as I was going through and doing these classes, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are perfect for my high school students. Now, if you're elementary, you're going to have to scaffold that a little bit more, maybe not show the video. But if you can take a look, the power searching class has 6 classes. Within those 6 classes are strands. And each strand has a 2 to 5 to 6 minute video, and then like 5 or 6 questions about what they learned. And each of those is a small, tiny little way to improve how you search on the internet. So here's what I do. For my 20% time, I usurp the first 5 minutes, and I have them learn a new search skill. So the first 5 minutes, we're all watching the video together. We're doing the quiz as a class. And then at the end, I say, okay, for the next 45 minutes, I'm challenging you to use this search skill and apply it in your search as you're searching for your 20% information. So that is a way to teach them how to focus, and if they're doing a project on pandas, maybe they won't end up on, some orange in Florida website because they've, got a little bit of their ADD coming in there. So I just want to hold on a second and explain now how I do it, and then I'll go on a little bit. I decided this year, so this is what I'm implementing this year. I'm going to do Genius Hour with my 12th graders. For the first 6 or 7 weeks, I'm going to say, okay, everybody, you're going to create an I wonder list. I wonder why spiders are creepy. I wonder why girls talk more than boys. I wonder why. And I'm going to ask them to come up with a whole bunch of questions. And then for 7 weeks, they're doing this one topic a week question that they're answering and then presenting in front of the class. That's to teach those search skills. So I'm going to begin teaching those search skills as they do it. The next quarter, that's the first quarter. So the second quarter this year, my students are going to be doing the 2 to 3 week project. Okay, let's get this a little bit more. Let's integrate this a little more. Now you're going to have a project that you're adding to your search skills. Let's talk about how to present or how to create a really great project, and then present it. And then my second semester is when they're going to get the big 20% mega project. And my hope is they've learned something. And it won't be as painful on those Fridays as it was last year. Okay, so we had search skills, but we can curate with Google Drive too. So you have Evernote. We all use Evernote, but I'm getting sick of toggling back and forth. I was even taking notes on Evernote yesterday in one of my classes. But you actually can save, we all know we can save anything to Drive. But I actually found out some kind of cool tips. Well, one, for the laptops, you have your Chrome extension, your Google Drive Chrome extension. So if you're using Chrome on your laptop, and I have an Apple, Chrome works just fine with a MacBook. You can just save any of your articles online into your Google Drive with the Chrome extension for Google Drive. For your Droid devices, you have Google Keep, which is essentially very much like an Evernote from Google, but that only works on Droid. Well, I have an Apple, I have an iOS, I have an Apple for an iPhone, and I can't get Google Keep, but I found the coolest, did you know this? When you're on a website on your phone, and if you want to do this now, you can do it with me, go to any random website on your phone, and it can be the one you're on right now. And if you click the little settings button, the three lines right next to the window, one of the options is to print. You've probably never clicked that because you've had no reason to ever print anything off your phone, but one of them gives you, you have to be in Chrome, by the way. One of them has Google Cloud Print, and when you click Google Cloud Print, it says, do you want this to go to your Google Drive? Yes, right? And so I looked it up, and it is a perfect image of your web page that you're on that goes straight to Google Drive. Off of my iOS device, I just have to be using the Chrome, not the Safari, to be able to do that. Are you excited? I was really excited about that. Okay. So you can curate. So your students are out there searching for material, and they want to save something they see, and instead of bookmarking it, they can save it right into Google Drive, which is nice. All right, so then we've got the collating, right? You've got your Google Drive, and we all know at this point we can add pictures, we can add videos, we can add articles now. I've just told you how to use articles. And then, of course, you have all those other 3 you can add as well. So everything is going to be in one place for them. We all know what the students can do with documents, and we all know what the students can do with presentations and slides. But have you thought about using forms with your student, teaching your students how to use Google Forms? My students found it, and I have a first grade daughter, and I teach 12th graders, and both of them use Google. I've taught both of them how to use Google Forms. So I had one student who decided to study for his 20% project social interactions between people. And he decided to perform an experiment. And he went up to somebody and he gave them direct eye contact for the entire time and never took their eyes off this person, and then asked them to take a quick survey to how comfortable they were with him doing that. And he was able to add that into his 20% project by creating a little bit of a survey. So don't forget forms when you're teaching students how to research. When they create a form and they throw it up on Facebook, they have 250 to 300 responses because their friends think it's pretty cool. And they'll take their quiz for them. So we have searching, we have curating, we have collating, we have creating. And then, of course, we have organizing. So for us old people that like our stuff into folders, Google Drive gives us folders that we can throw all of our information in. So if I have a student who's doing a project on spiders, he can create a folder for spiders, put all of their information for that project on spiders into that folder. What's nice about Google, though, it's not just a folder, it's a label. So if he now wants to do a project on insects, and he has a great picture of the spider in his spider folder, he can also drag that spider picture into the insect folder. It'll be one picture, but it'll be in both places, right? So it's nice that they're not just necessarily folders where they're there all by themselves, they're labels as well. So they can put their notes, their papers, their pictures, their presentations, their videos, and their surveys all from one project into one folder and be all nice and organized. So that's what I need in my class. So then, Blogger. Now, I had this issue with my students on Fridays when they would do 20 time that they sat there and then they would forget maybe what they were working on for the next week, or they really weren't thinking about what they were doing, or forgetting what they were doing. So I asked my students to create blogs using Blogger, and every Friday for the last 5 minutes, they created a post, and I'm a BYOD teacher, and they used their phones. And I have a few extra devices, and Blogger has an app, and they literally for 5 minutes posted what they learned for the day so they didn't forget. What's really nice about Blogger, though, too, is they can create other pages. So if a student wanted to learn more about baseball, he created an informational page on what is a pitcher, what is a pitcher's job, what's a curveball, what's a fastball, and he could create this whole page on information. So the students are using narration for their posts and informational writing for their information pages. And overall, what they're doing is they're writing, and they don't even know they're doing it. We're totally tricking them into doing this. They have no idea. I also teach, by the way, I teach them how to create a PLN. So if they're doing their whole project on spiders, who's your network of people to go to? What websites do we need to use? Who are the people that I need to contact? And what are the Twitter handles in order to use? So one of the pages is usually a PLN page too. So we have all of this information, and you've done all this work with the students, and you really we want this a little bit, right? So what I do is I create a Google site for my students' works. And it was really easy, actually, because the students just created a post on a post page. They put a 2 to 3 sentence summary of their blog, the URL to their blog, and now suddenly I had this beautiful looking center where I could send this out to the parents, to my principal, to my ed tech team, to whoever I wanted to see what my students were doing in the classroom, and they could click on any of the links and visit them. So it was a great showcasing piece. And then I used this Google site for other projects that my students were working on throughout the semester as well. All right, so that's all of the Google stuff, but there's other stuff that you can do for 20 time. And one of the things you really can't avoid is digital citizenship. My students on day 2 of school learn about Creative Commons. It was really easy for you to put pictures into PowerPoint presentations when the PowerPoint presentations weren't being published to the web. But now that everything's being published to the web, it's really more important than ever. The students understand that they can't take any old picture and just throw it up on their website. So on the last page on my blog, my last blog post was how I do that particular lesson plan. So you can go to the last post when I get there, and you can check out what this particular lesson is I use for digital citizenship and Creative Commons. It's a 6-word memoir with an autobiographical portrait, and then it's paper, so you can throw it on the wall for back to school night. Okay. And then evaluation skills. Every once in a while, I'll QR code that Google site that I just showed you, and for the first 5 minutes of class, students are scanning the QR code. They go to somebody else's blog, they read it a little bit, and then they post a comment on it. And if I show them my not-so-beautiful, constructive feedback sandwich, in which they give 2 specific positive examples about what they read, something that could be improved, and then they identify the next step for the students. So I teach them how to give constructive commenting. So the last thing that this is presentation for 20 time is the cornerstone. I mean, it is the cornerstone of 20 time. It is all about sharing what you learn. I use TED, so I created this matrix, this rubric, and I use a TED lesson to teach the things that I wanted that are important, and this is the rubric I use throughout the entire year. So this never changes. They're constantly, every time they present, they get this rubric. And again, this particular lesson's on my website, and when I get there, you can go just search TED, and you can get this whole lesson plan on how to do it, which is actually right here. So these are the 20 time resources. You have your 20 time in education.com that has all of the communities. It also has a very detailed template for the 20% project. Here's how to do the implementation plan. Here's how to do the pitch. Here's how to do the final reflection. So everything's there for you. A great resource is the Genius Hour Life Finder, and it's not a great URL. But if you just Google Genius Hour Life Finder, K through 12 examples from teachers from every single grade, and then 5 to 15 teachers on that resource page and their blogs and examples of what they do. There's my website, thetechclassroom.com. You can get the TED lesson plan, and if you check the last post, that'll be the Creative Commons website, or Creative Commons lesson. You have your G+ communities, 20 time and 20% in education. You have your Twitter handles, 20 time and Genius Hour. And that's it. I got my 20 minutes. She's back there.